Happy Mother's Day to all the mommies, all the spiritual mommies, all the biological mommies, all kinds of mommies. Happy Mother's Day. We celebrate you. However, today I want to do something different. I want to read one of the pages of my diary where I struggled with my age and will I ever become a mom? I'm 48, turning 49 this year, and I've never experienced becoming a mother, carrying a child in my womb and delivering a child and raising a child into an adult. I've never experienced that for myself. And as you get older, fear presents itself, and it's not always easy to overcome these fears. But with Christ, all things are possible. And what helps me a lot is to write down my thoughts, my feelings, my desire, and my will, and then to reflect it with what God's thoughts are about me, His desires, His will, His feelings. And it helps me a lot to keep the faith alive, to stay strong, to stay focused, to stay thankful, and to accept His will for my life, but also to understand why and how I have come to where I am here today, where I am today. I'm sorry. But anyway, I'll just read the pages of my diary, and I pray and I hope that it encourages somebody to let them know that you're not alone going through these feelings, thoughts, and desires. But also, if you know someone that has a desire to be a mom but has not experienced motherhood yet, that you can be more understanding, because now you get a glimpse as what it could feel like. I'm not saying that every woman that is barren feels this way or has this kind of experience, but at least you have more understanding to encourage someone that you know. All right, so here we go. It's very personal, but I feel I have to do this. I have to share this. So, my diary, right? Good morning, pages. I'm thinking about how awesome God is. My period has been skipped twice in the past few months. And normally I'm always on time like a clock. My period is on time. I'm not on the pill, haven't been on the pill for years. I have been on time every month. I know my body so well. I'm on time. However, this last couple of months, it has been skipped twice, and it got me so anxious. So I was very much concerned, and it shook me off with the thoughts like, is this the end? Is this the end? Is the end coming? Am I now going to be barren? The fear hit me. Will I be a woman who dies without children, without offspring to continue after her, to carry on the legacy? I had thoughts about never having the experience to be called mom, just to hear a child say, Mommy, Mom, Mommy, or even grandma, to be a grandma, to be called grandma or great grandma with such dignity and pride. That is my great grandma. That is my grandma. That is my mother. That's my mommy. I had thoughts like, okay, I might not have that experience. Who will tell the stories about me? And who will keep my legacy alive? Who will pass it on? Many people die. And if they're not a direct family, you will hardly speak about them or what they left behind. Maybe occasionally when you meet, a fellow acquaintance. But other than that, you won't be telling your children and your grandchildren and your great-grandchildren about them. That's what you do with mommies and great grandma. You tell the stories of your mother and your great grandmother. That's what you do. You keep the memories alive. There's something else. So I really wept for a moment. I really wept when I realized that was possible in my case, with my period, not coming. Will I be forgotten? Who will keep my spirit alive? Who will carry it, facilitate it to continue the harvest of my testimony? Everything I worked hard for in life to achieve and to accomplish in Christ, even through faith, Who will keep the story alive? In which book will I be written? Of course, in God's book. But, I just felt that certain way. But yesterday, I answered a call, an altar call at church to take back what the enemy stole from me. And one of the things I proclaimed and took back by force was my femininity, my womanhood, and my fertility, my motherhood, my womb, my ovaries, my uterus, my ability to have healthy relationships free from the past trauma. And I took back my desire to have a husband, a family, and children of my own. And I'm talking about a desire. A desire is something that has to be cultivated. You don't, some people just are born with a desire, but yet still, even if you're born with a desire, it has to be cultivated. You have to see, you have to be inspired by those around you. It has to be cultivated. A desire needs to be fed for the desire to stay alive or even to grow. If it's not fed, it will not grow and it will not sustain. And you'll have other desires to take that place. And that's what happened with me, So I took back at the altar call, I took back by force what the enemy stole. It was my desire. And I'm going to tell you in a little bit how my desire was stolen. I took back everything I lost because of the doubt Satan planted in my mind. And one of the doubts Satan planted in my mind was through my mom. My mother, who said, I'm not the type for motherhood. I'm more like a businesswoman. And she said I was more like her because that was her desire to become a businesswoman. She only became a mother out of culture purposes, It was the culture to become a mom. It was not a desire. She had other desires. So she became a mom instead, while she didn't really want to become a mom. So she wanted to protect me. So she had good intentions to protect me from what she'd been through, but I never had the opportunity to cultivate or to be cultivated in my desire of motherhood. So she redirected my desire, if that makes sense. It's a bypass. That's how important parents are. You as a parent have the power to redirect the desires of your children. You are the one that cultivates their desires. So be very much aware what you cultivate, which desires you cultivate, because eventually the child will grow into following the desires of their hearts, whatever that may be, good, bad, or indifferent. So in my case, I didn't grow up with that desire. And it was so, I even grew an aversion towards sex, towards marriage, towards motherhood, childbirth, settling down. My mom always talked about, oh my goodness, when you have children, so much pain. And, oh no, don't even start it. She pumped fear in us not to get pregnant. Of course, back in the days, it's another generation. They don't want you to have sex. So, they're not, they won't talk about using condoms or whatever the case may be, So what they do, they put fear in you so that you won't have sex. And sometimes it goes left in my case. So, I grew a fear, like an aversion, like, sex, having children, it's only pain, and not just having children, but also raising children, my mom was very clear, like, she never really showed the joy of being a mom, children were just a burden, more so a burden than a pleasure. Equally so for my dad. I've not experienced my mother or my father experiencing joy from even expressing their desire to have children, to birth children, to raise children. Everything was like a burden and pain and whatever, So if you hear that constantly, you're like, you're not, you don't have any ambition or desire to have none of those things. So instead of the desire that was cultivated, an aversion towards it was cultivated. And of course, I'm still young at this point, right? So I have no other defense mechanism. I grow up in the ways of my parents. So I grew an aversion towards sex, marriage, motherhood, childbirth, settling down, That's why I became a businesswoman. I pursued my career. I was not interested in marriage. you know, the white picket fence. And, a lot of women, they dreamt about walking down the aisle in their white dress. I dreamt about walking down the aisle in my gala gown at the Soul Train Awards. That was my desire. So I just went all left. I went all left. And again, it's nothing wrong with the desires that I had, but it's another thing to be stolen, for your desires to be stolen out of the because of the fear of a parent. So okay, and hence the reason I never pursued it. I never pursued motherhood. I never pursued marriage. As I became a businesswoman, her prophesy was fulfilled. My mom's prophesy was fulfilled, affirming it even more. So I followed my desire for a career with discipline. So that being said, but what happens now, while I realized that, so I went to the altar to take that back, take back what that was stolen from me. I took it back. I took it back. I took it back. And the same day after I got back from church, I got on the phone with a particular person. And this person I perceive to be my future husband. And he doesn't know it yet, though. He doesn't know it yet. But I perceive him to be my future husband. He ain't there yet, so don't get too excited. But after I hung up the phone, we're having a conversation with him, random conversation, not about this, not about anything. He doesn't know about nothing. But I hung up the phone and my blood started to flow. My fertility was back. That is how amazing supernatural God has created us, man and woman. We activate our whole biological system. Don't underestimate the power of the presence of a man in a woman's life and the presence of a woman in a man's life. It influences our whole anatomy, everything inside of us, our hormones, our nerve system, our fertility, everything is activated. So that was amazing to me. So I believe that at that moment, I got a second chance. The fear of, oh my God, I'm not getting my period anymore. This is the end. I got hope. I had my period back. And I was like, oh, thank you, Jesus. And not necessarily that I, at the age of 48, am still like, woo, let's have some children right now, because I'm like also thinking, do I have the energy? Is it fair for the child? I have all these thoughts. So it's not like, okay, let me have a baby right now. If only that was that simple. But just the thought that you don't have a choice because your period is gone, that just put a fear in me. And I'm so glad that I'm released, I'm redeemed, I am delivered of that fear. But the good news is, this is how God allows all things to work together for the good. Because of this fear that was planted, I can now look back and realize and discover what happened, why I ended up here today. What were the choices I made that got me to being 48 without children, without being a mom? And not what are the choices that I made, but also what are the choices that my parents made that caused me to have a desire or a lack of desire or even an aversion towards motherhood. And just to get that revelation is very helpful. It's very helpful to me to understand why I am and where I am today. Or where I'm not, or why, or what I'm not today. So be encouraged, and be understanding. I still find it difficult and challenging at times because people invite me a lot of times to sing for mothers and Mother's Day, or when, or celebrate Mother's Day. or they assume that I'm a mother, or when I walk with people, like even yesterday, I had two fabulous young ladies with me to church, and people were asking me, are those your daughters? So I said, yes, those are my daughters. Those are my daughters. With so for a moment, I did feel a little bit like, okay, so this is what it is to be a mom. But of course, it's very superficial. But comparison with the real deal. But also I have to say, after the altar call and I took back everything that the enemy stole, suddenly doors opened where I was called to coach a young man, a young boy, 13 years old. And as I was coaching this boy, 13 years old, I did feel a sense of motherhood, a covering over him. And another opportunity arose where I had an opportunity to talk to a friend that I know, like his son, and he asked me questions like what a son would ask his mother, and I was so shocked and honored that he asked me for advice on every topic in life, like different topics in life, and I could give him some motherly advice. So that was an older young man. He was 18. He is 18, and then some other opportunities came on my way of giving the younger generation motherly advice. And so I know that when my time has come, I know that my story will be told. I might not have children that call me mama or grandma or great grandma, but my legacy will live on, prayerfully, hopefully. But most importantly, my name is written in the book of life with the Almighty, Most High, and therefore I'm grateful. Make wise choices while you're young. Don't allow people, places, and things to rob you of a natural desire to become a mother. Happy Mother's Day. Bye. If you have any questions, any comments, please comment below or above wherever there's an opportunity to comment. Also, if you feel like, okay, I really get what you're saying and I really would like to talk to someone about this, of course, you can sign up for the Soul Science Academy, the Soul Training. We have private classes, we have group classes, we have like one-on-one sessions, like a separate session or a program where you can sign up for. So whatever you need, we have it. We got it. And we can talk about anything and everything. But of course, there's a program that you can follow, and you will, learn more about the soul, the issues of the soul, your thoughts, your feelings, your desires, your will, and discover where does it come from? Where do these thoughts, feelings, and desire come from? Where were they cultivated? And when you understand that, you have a greater opportunity or a greater chance to redirect your thoughts, redirect your feelings, your desires, redirect your will so that you can change your life still while you still can. Amen. So you're welcome to come join us. Sign up for the Soul Science Academy. This is your girl, Corey, the Soul Scientist, wishing everybody a happy Mother's Day. And for those that are not a mom, I pray that God will open doors for you to experience motherhood even so. It's not the same, I know. It's not the same as having a biological child, but at least your legacy will live on. Amen. Thank you for listening. God bless you.